YouTube, Batcave Comics, back for a second video today. This time I am not doing a haul video. What I am doing is going to show you how I built my comic wall and display my comics. Some of you've seen it before, some of you haven't. This is pretty much the view you usually get when I do my videos. But I did do some additions to my comic wall. So any new subscribers that haven't seen any of my old videos, or older subscribers that haven't seen any of my comic wall, here's what it pretty much looks like. Let me back up here. Okay, that's the back wall. Okay, which is about 4 foot. I got a side wall here, which is another about 4 foot, and it's 4 rows. 4 rows, and this is 4 rows. Okay, I originally had 3 rows here, 2 rows in the back, and 3 rows on this side, but I decided to add another row down here, 2 rows in the front there, and another row down here. And one reason why I did that is I wanted it uniformed, so when you back up, it looks all nice and uniformed, and you can see how it displays. It displays real nice. So besides them 2 additions, I did put a shelf up there for my Hellboy, and the shelf over there for my Silver Surfer, which I actually got from my dad, who's passed away now. So those kind of mean a lot to me. And then there's a picture of me and George Perez, and another picture of me with Ethan Van Sciver. But this is kind of how I rearrange my books. On this wall here, I'll give you a quick view. These are all CGC graded books. So I have just CGC graded books on this wall. I'll try to slow it down so you can see some of them. And some of these books I've had graded for a long time. Other ones are fairly new, because you can tell the cases are new. And this is probably roughly about half of my graded comics. So I like to look at comics. I figured I wanted some of my my graded comics displayed. I've seen other videos, and I really like the way guys display their comics. They get to look at them every day, kind of cherish their collections, and I decided I'd build me one. So this is all CGC. These are all, not all, but some of my commission books I had done by different artists. And then down here are my signature, some of my signature books. So on this, just the front wall in front of my desk, I keep my my commissions and some of my signature books. Which, sorry about the glare, guys. I'm trying to get it so it's not so bad, but I'm just trying to give you guys a nice kind of a nice overview of some of my collection, and some of the books that, you know, I've had signed and displayed here. And then over on this wall, what I did is I put my PGX books over here, if you can see that through the horrible glare. So these are my PGX and CBC books, graded books. They get the small wall because I don't have a ton of those. I do have a handful, but I do have a space for 2 more of the PGX or CBCS graded. Alright, so let's get into how I built this wall. Fairly easy, fairly inexpensive. It might take me a while to describe how I did it, but I want you guys to get a full understanding how I built it. So if you decide to build one of these, you can do it, and it's going to be strong. It's going to display your comics well, and you won't be worried about them falling or getting damaged. So one of the tools you're probably most likely going to need, which you should, is an electric drill. Preferably cordless. It makes it so much easier. You can even use a screwdriver if you want. But an electric drill is definitely makes the job a million times easier. Okay? Then you'll need a stud finder. It's not a necessity. Again, a stud finder definitely helps the job. I mean, if you want to bang on your wall to find the stud, you can do that. You might put a million holes in your wall trying to find one, but one of these, fairly inexpensive, definitely worth the purchase. You'll need a level, which I didn't grab. You'll need a tape measure. Doesn't matter what size, what kind, just a kind of a tape measure to guideline. And you'll need a something to write with. A pen, pencil. I usually use pencil, that way I can erase when I need to. So let's get into this. I'll show you how I built this. Like I say, fairly easy, inexpensive, and you will need board right here, which is 1 by 2 inches. Okay, 1 by 2 inches, and this board's really inexpensive. I think I paid $1 for like an 8-foot piece of this. So I mean, I might have $10 total in all the board up here to build this display. To display, like, I don't know, 60, 70 something books. I think it was $10 in board. And you will need, I'm going to recommend 2.5-inch drywall screws. That's because you have to go through the board and the drywall to hit a stud. So what I start off with first is I choose a wall I want. Okay, I started with this wall, and what I did is you take the stud finder, you put it on the wall, and you slide it till the light turns green, if any of you don't know how to use one of these. And then you make a mark. Then you come back over this way and slide it back towards there. When the light turns green, you make another mark. In the middle of them two marks is where your stud's going to be. That's where you want to put a screw at. Okay, so what you do is you go down your whole wall with your stud finder. You find all your studs where they're at. Okay, and you only have to do it once. Let's say you do it right in the middle of the wall on this board, which would be perfectly fine. You make a mark where each stud's at. After you make a mark where each stud's at, you put a level against the wall, make sure it's level, straight up and down, and mark a line where all your studs are at, all the way down the wall. Okay? And I'll tell you why you do that in a minute. So after you've found your studs, you have all your marks, now you're ready to start putting up the board. So what I would do is I would first put a piece of board up, okay? Where my one stud's at in the middle, I would drill a pilot hole through the board first, because if you don't, what's going to happen is when you drill a screw in there, this board's going to split. So make sure you put your board up there, mark on your board where all your studs are going to be, so you know where you're going to put a screw in. So let's say I had a mark on the wall right here, and I put my board up. I know my screw is going to be right there, so I'll just make a mark on the board right there, and I'll do that where all my studs are. Then I'll take the board out. I'll drill all my little pilot holes, just little holes straight through the board so it doesn't split. After you do that, and I'm sorry I'm not demonstrating all this, I'm just talking you through it. You put your board up, you put a screw right in the middle, okay, of where your board is and where your stud is on the wall, and make sure that screw sinks into the board. If that screw don't sink into the board and it just keeps spinning, you didn't hit a stud and it's not going to be secure. I do not recommend using the little plastic push-in things, because those, I've seen them fall out of the wall and stuff get damaged. This way your books, this board is not moving. You're not going to pull this thing off, and it's not going to damage your books. Okay? It's not going to fall, trust me. So, you put a screw in the middle of your board, okay? And I'll tell you why you put one screw in the middle. You put one screw in the middle, that way you can put a level on top of your board, okay? And make sure the board is level. After the board is nice and level, then you go down from this screw down here to the next stud, pop a screw. See how it's sunk in? To the next screw, pop it. See how they're sunk in? Okay, they hit wood. So it went through this wood, the drywall, into the stud. So that hit stud. That is not coming out. It is not going to loosen up either. And then you go down and you do it the same way down this side. Okay? You make sure them screws hit studs. And I'm only stressing that because I don't want you to build a display, it fall apart, and your books get damaged. All right? So after you do that, then you can start from the bottom board down there or a top board up there. It doesn't matter. Okay? But I would definitely start from the top or the bottom and build your way down or build your way up. Don't start in the middle of your wall. Okay? So then what you do after you get your first board, let's say the first board at the top, you have it in, it's ready to go, then you're going to want your tape measure. Now remember, you've already marked a line where all your studs are at. Okay, so you should be good to go. You know where all your studs are at. Then you measure from the top of the board down 16 1/4 inches. 16 1/4. Okay? That's where the bottom of your next board's going to go. All right? See how that is? Top of that board to the bottom of that board. 16 1/4 inches. All right? Then you repeat the process of the first board you put up. Put a screw in the middle, put a level on it, make sure it's level, screw it all in. Make sure the screws are sunk in. Now you've got the top board that's nice and level, the board underneath it that's nice and level, and they'll match up. Your books will slide in. They'll be all level, nice and beautiful. See how level that is? Okay? And I'm not afraid of it falling out of the wall like a lot of J channel. I know there is metal J channel, but I don't like the metal because I'm concerned about it scratching my CGC cases. All right. So after you put all your boards in, how many ever you want, remember 16 1/2 inches. Okay. That's going to be wide enough to display CBCS, PGX, and CGC. Now I know what you're saying. Well, the CBCX cases are taller than CGC and PGX. So how is that going to fit all three? And I'll show you how. And of course, you know, these fit in here pretty good. You can pull them out and then put them back in, and they fit in there nice and solid, and they do not move. It's just a beautiful display, in my opinion. Some of you guys might not like it. You want to use the J channel, go right ahead. So this is what I did to compensate for the different size cases. This is why I put these boards 16 1/4 inches. Okay, this is how I compensate it. On the top and bottom, right, of the boards, if you can see, top and bottom, top and bottom. Of course, that's just going to be the top and top and bottom. This actually is window sealant foam. It comes in a roll. Okay, it's foam. It comes in a roll that, and the one side is sticky, so it sticks to the board. And you put it in the top and bottom. And I believe this is a 1/4 inch thick. This. So you put a 1/4 inch thick on here, and then the top one is oh, I can't, it's a little thicker, but you can buy this in different thicknesses. Okay, so for the CBC books or CBCS books, you use the 1/4 inch on the top and the bottom, holds them beautifully, doesn't move, nice and secure. For the CGC books, use the 1/4 inch here, and I want to say this is 3/8 inch here. So you use either top or bottom, it doesn't matter, different size, and that way these fit in here nice and beautifully. It takes up that extra little centimeter space, so the CGC books fit in there. And then for the PGX books, you use, I believe it's 3/8 inch on the top and at the bottom. Well, top and at the bottom. You use the thicker window foam, and then now your PGX books fit in there with the same measurement, so you don't have to use 2-3 different measurements, providing if you have 3 different grading companies. Maybe you have all CGC books, maybe you like CBCS or PGX, it doesn't matter. This shelving system will work with all of them, and it holds them nice and securely, stands them straight up. They display beautifully, and like I say, when you're done, like me, I still haven't, as you can tell, I still got some stamps on the board. I haven't done anything with the board yet, but I'm eventually going to paint that all black, and it's going to freaking look awesome. I'm going to probably add a few more shelves, you know, maybe in here for like different things, for stuff. But pretty much, guys, that's it all in all. How I built my comic display. If you have any questions, any comments, leave them in the comment section below. I'll try to get back and answer any questions you have. But that's what it looks like when you back up and you kind of look in my little cubby hole where I do my comic videos. But I put a lot of thought into this because I didn't want to use J channel. I really didn't like it. That's my personal opinion. You use whatever you want. I put a lot of thought in this. How can I display my comics that they'll stand straight up, nice and secure, and they won't get damaged? And this is what I came up with. So you need a drill, stud finder, a pencil pen, a level, a tape measure. You're going to want 1 by 2 inch board and window foam that seals like windows up that may have a draft in it. And you can get that in a couple different sizes. So that's it. That's my comic display. If you like this video, if you like my display, give me a thumbs up, subscribe. If you have any questions how I built this, I can answer any question you have on building this display. Thanks again, Batcave Comics. See ya.